The Full-Time Review is supported by and brought to you by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. And this week, if you are in Abu Dhabi, I suggest you visit my new sponsors, Craig International, at the ADIPEC 2023. The guys will be on stand 14380 in Hall 14. I have no doubt they'll be absolutely delighted to see you if you can make it over. In what was a masterful performance, Aberdeen came away from Ibrox with their first league win there since 2018. It's also the first time since 1997 that we've managed to score 3 goals against Rangers at Ibrox. Stefan Gartenmann, Jamie McGrath on his birthday, and Jack McKenzie with the all-important goals. Full time, Rangers 1, the Dons 3. It means this in terms of the table. We have jumped from 11th to 7th, and we are now very much in touching distance of the top 6. What a difference 10 days has made. Good evening, how are you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Monday night. Sorry I couldn't be with you last night. Just wasn't feeling very well at all. Still not 100%, but I thought we'd soldier on and just get on and crack on and just try and bring you the very best show that we possibly can after what was an unbelievable win at Ibrox on Saturday afternoon. Subsequently, they sacked their manager and everybody has just been absolutely cock-a-hoop about how the Dons performed and the manner in which we won the game. So tonight, the idea is to let you just have your say. So the usual drill, underneath the video, just leave your comments. Do me a favour though, if you're watching for the first time, try not to use bad language and always be respectful of those who also comment on the channel as well. We're trying to build a safe environment here. So if you'd be very mindful of that, I would be very grateful. Obviously, Saturday's win was tinged with the devastating news on Sunday morning that cult hero and club legend and recent Hall of Fame inductee Frank McDougall sadly passed away. Frank died in the early hours of Sunday morning due to complications with his heart. I'm sure you'll agree that he was a fantastic football player, one of the very best strikers that ever played for our club. And for those of us who were privileged enough to watch him play for just that 2 seasons that he was with us, he's a player that nobody will forget. He was a natural goal scorer. He was just the best. And I would go as far as saying that he's probably one of the greatest Aberdeen strikers. And I was very fortunate to get to know Frank personally. We first met about 4 years ago when we did a gig together in the Village Hotel in Aberdeen with Duncan Shearer and Doug Rugby. And he absolutely brought the house down. He was such an hilarious storyteller. And I will never forget, as long as I live, when he leaned over to me and he said, I desperately need a pee. And I said, well, just go. I said, I'll just speak to Doug and Duncan. So I said, but don't forget to turn your mic off. So he started to make his way through the crowd to go to the toilet. And I'm looking at him going, your mic, turn your mic off. The next thing we know, we just hear a chorus in the toilet of, oh, ah. It was just the most hilarious moment. And I'll never forget him. And it's just such a sad loss. And I really hope the football club do something to mark him. I really hope we do something on Thursday night for him. The funeral will be towards the end of the month down in Bury, where he lived latterly, and where he had his family and obviously his wee boy Alfie. So our deepest sympathies and love go to all of his family members. Frank McDougall, a guy that we will never, ever forget. Okay, I want to talk about Saturday. I'm going to start with the team news. And as we predicted on what was the preview show, we said that Aberdeen would go with the same team that started against Frankfurt. And that's exactly what Barry did. And on the day, I just thought Aberdeen were magnificent. Opening 20 minutes or so, I was a little bit concerned, I must admit. I'll be speaking to Terry McDermott about that in just a moment. Terry, if you don't know who Terry is a singer, originally from Aberdeen, now lives in New Orleans, and he came third in The Voice USA a number of years ago. He's a hugely popular singer in America. So we discuss that very shortly. So my thoughts on Aberdeen were that it was extremely disciplined. As Barry said, we absolutely frustrated them. Hang on a second. Just let me turn this off. My son is trying to call me. Hang on. So I must admit, I thought we can't keep playing like this because eventually they will open us up. But we continue to frustrate them. And once we got a foothold in the game, I felt that we actually started to control the game. And that was the big difference for me. When we were able to get out from inside our own 18-yard box without humping the ball forward and giving it away cheaply, when we were able to sort of pass our way out and then look down the channels for Bojan to run into, or to look for Leighton, who started to drift further forward, I just thought we really started to control the game, and I don't think they had any answers to it. I was also a little bit, but it's just the way of the Scottish media, where they always hype up, well, how did Rangers lose it? Well, in my opinion, these things should always be looked at in equal measures. Yes, you can look at how Rangers lost it, but, balance it, guys. Balance it with, well, Aberdeen won it. So let's have a look to see how Aberdeen won it as well. And I get really frustrated with that part of how our game is broadcast to the masses, because it's not always about how the big two lose the games. It should always be done in equal measure. So that's the only thing I would say on that. So it's open to you now. The floor's open. Get all your comments coming in. And what we'll do is we'll introduce Terry first of all so that you can hear what Terry had to say. I'm just going to drop it in for you. Where is he? There he is. Right, let me chuck it in there. Right, so here's Terry McDermott. We discussed the game against Rangers, and we also look forward to the game against Helsinki. Terry McDermott. Good morning from New Orleans. Looks like a lovely day, mate.
It's a beautiful day. That's why I'm sitting outside today. It's gorgeous. This
Nice.
is the last summer last year till pretty late, so it's a scorcher. So I just thought I'd take advantage of it today.
Why not? Why not? So, on Saturday, you and I were texting each other quite a lot in the first 20
Yeah,
minutes of that game.
yeah. Tell
I
you what,
must admit, I didn't
that
see,
first 20.
oh, I didn't see that coming, mate. After the first
No,
20 minutes, I didn't see that coming, but I tell you what, we'll take it.
yeah, and honestly, I've been listening to the Radio Scotland. I was listening to Sports Sound. I was listening to the Huns having a meltdown. But the biggest takeaway for me was that they seem to think that first 20 minutes signified that it was a massive failure on their part. But honestly, I thought Robson just got his tactics absolutely right.
Yep.
I thought he absolutely nailed it. He frustrated them. He got the crowd on their back, and we soaked up pressure, and we let them come at us, and took our chances. It's not our job to roll out the red carpet for teams. If you can't break us down and we can hit you on the break, that's a good way to play.
Mm. I have to say, I think every player got pass marks. I thought they were all magnificent. And I just, a particular word about Jack McKenzie, because he's come in for a bit of
Oh,
stick. But oh
yeah,
my God, that tackle and the reaction of his teammates around him after he
yeah.
made the tackle, to me, that shows a real togetherness.
I think yeah, I thought the team showed a tremendous togetherness, and you know, obviously Graham Shinney's not scared to let players know when they're making a mistake. You could see
Yeah,
that with Rubicek when he
yeah,
made the error, another error. But that suggests to me that they are gelling. It suggests to me that there is communication and that there is a togetherness, and they really do care about what's going on in the field, and they all know their jobs. And when one of them's maybe not doing their jobs, they bring you into line.
mm,
But Mackenzie, I thought really grew as a player for me in that game. That is a cauldron of a place to play football, and it's very, very tough when you've got 40,000 of them or 50,000 of them on your back, screaming at you every time you touch the ball. And he really, really, really showed a lot of heart and bravery for a guy that's maybe struggled. It's maybe been suggested there's some limitations, but there's not a single thing you could fault him for in that game. He performed great. Like you said, all the players got pass marks. And I thought a special mention has to go to Graham Shinney. He covered every single blade of grass up and down that field all day.
mm. No, I thought it was a magnificent performance, just absolutely controlled, disciplined performance, and I really hope it just gives us that momentum now to just kick on. But of course, let's not forget, we've got a big game coming up on Thursday. It looks like it'll be a sellout, but again, it'll be really fascinating to see what sort of tactics he'll deploy. I've got a feeling he'll just revert to three at the back again because confidence will be up.
Possibly, and actually, I was thinking about that this morning. If you look at how we performed against Frankfurt, I mean, we were not overawed by a team that won the Europa League just a few
Yeah,
seasons ago.
yeah,
And it's really because we were disciplined and compact. And I mean, honestly, it's exactly the same lineup and way that we played at Ibrox. But I think the question is, how do we react when we're the team that's expected to be on the front foot?
mm,
And our wing back positions are a bit of a complication because when they're not sitting back and they're going forward, we're going to ask our centre half to split a bit more. We're going to have to be a lot tighter at the back, maybe be under pressure because other teams are going to counter attack against us. So it's tough to know how do you set up against. I mean, I don't know enough about Helsinki to know if they're really just going to come at us all day long. But
yeah.
do we set up the same way we did at Ibrox and be patient, or do we just do we go at them? We've certainly got the attacking talent. We should not be deploying Clarkson as a defensive midfielder. I just
No,
don't
agree.
understand that one.
No, agree.
But we've definitely got the tools to unlock a team. It's just whether or not we've got the solidity at the back for a three, because I'm still not convinced that Rubicek in that back three is a smart move.
Mm. I got to be honest. I'm warming to the lad. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I know he's got a ricket in him. But what was also interesting was so I was speaking to somebody at the football club after the Ross County game, and they've got that unique angle where they show the goals and all that sort of stuff. Well, that
yeah,
unique angle camera, he told me, quite clearly showed that it was never a penalty in the month of Sundays. That
really,
Yeah, that was given against him. He said there was slight contact, but certainly not enough to award a penalty. And when Barry came out afterwards and said if that had gone to VAR, it was never a penalty, and folks saying, that's just sour grapes, etc., etc. Mate, it was never a penalty in a million years.
fair
Um,
enough, fair enough.
yeah, and
I,
he got quite a bit of stick again afterwards. But again, it's like my point is I'm warming to him.
I think in the emotion after a game or the emotion after an incident, we can all get a little carried away. Um, and I agree. I'm coming around a little bit to Rubicek, and I think it has to be remembered. What is he? 23.
Yeah, he's just young.
He's, yeah, he's a young lad, and he's in a foreign country. English is not his first language.
Yeah.
He's adapting to the culture. He's adapting to the fans, to the club, and maybe he didn't set the header alight when he came to us. But yeah, has he improved? Yes, he has. I
Mm,
mean, he's a pretty heavy. I mean, he said it in one of the interviews. He says, I'm a very physical player. Aye, well, apparently he is. He's going to have to learn, I think. Like, for instance, it's fair enough what you say there that, maybe it wasn't a penalty, but did he need to be putting himself in that position
mm,
considering where we were on the field? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think there was a massive threat. He could have ushered the guy out. So maybe it's a case of just be aware that the slightest contact on some of the players in the SPFL, they're going to go down like a sack of potatoes.
mm.
So maybe it's just getting a little streetwise But yeah, is there a big centre half in there that, I mean, he's not going to lose much in the air, is he?
No, definitely not.
I'll
Definitely
tell you
not.
what though, Gartenman
Oh, different
and
class.
Jensen,
Different class.
I am loving these guys now. Absolutely loving them. I'm loving the way they play together. I'm loving the way they communicate. I'm loving the way they read the game. Gartman particularly looks like somebody we should be going all out to get.
Completely agree. Couldn't agree more, mate. I think he's sensational. What a find he is.
Yeah, and
Um,
it worries me that he's on a loan. That's
yeah,
this happens all the time.
yeah.
But
And we continually fall in love with our lone players, eh?
I know, and in this case, I was reading that he didn't get much time at Midtjylland, and maybe there's an avenue here. I don't know. I mean, fingers crossed, because we don't want a Matty Pollock situation
No, no.
where we get ourselves an incredibly rock solid back line and then are having to come up with a new equation every 6 months.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Mate, it's been a pleasure as always. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And you?
Yeah. And any gigs coming up?
Yeah, yeah. I've got a show down in Florida a little bit later on, but I guess the big news is that a couple of songs of mine just got submitted for a movie, so I'm just
No
waiting to hear
way.
if the public will have to put up listening to me while they're watching a film. So
Mate, that's brilliant news. Oh,
I
fingers
will see.
crossed.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, it's not a blue movie, because then only only a certain section of the public will then get to see it. But gig's a
Brilliant.
gig.
Let us know, mate. I hope that comes off. That would be absolutely
Yeah.
sensational. Yeah. Top man. I'll speak to you soon.
Okay, mate.
Ta-da,
Cheers.
fella. Ta-da, ta-da. So this is what Barry had to say after the game. Structurally, we were good. Tactically, we got it right. We had to frustrate them for 20 to 25 minutes, and we did that. Then we started picking passes at the right time. We're starting to get to where we want to be. Let's take a look at the match stats for you. So they enjoyed 71% of possession to our 29. But I thought what was telling on Saturday was what we did when we did not have possession. And I think that was very telling. In total, they had 18 shots to our 14. We had 6 on target to their 5. We only committed 4 fouls to their 9. And we won 8 corners to their 5. So, let's now open it up to you and see how you're all doing tonight. DM has said, hello, dandies. How are we all doing tonight? What a fantastic second half from the boys. Duncan Wright is here. Hi, Duncan. What a weekend I had in Glasgow. Bit scary the opening 30 minutes, but from when we scored, what a performance. Never in doubt the whole of the second half. Just fantastic. DM said, sad news as well. Rest in peace, Frank. John Grant has said, hello, dandies. Great performance, especially McGrath, Bojan and Shinnie. Graham Clark has said, good evening, fellow dandies. Wow, just wow, he says. Still buzzing from Saturday. What a win. Only a defeat from the dandies can get a club so riled up that they go and sack their manager. Hopefully, we keep this up. Come on, you Reds. John Grant is here. Hi, John. Hopefully, Jensen's injury is not as bad as it looked, but it didn't look great. I've not heard anything yet, John. Mark Smith has said, fantastic result. Will all the people calling for Robson to be sacked 12 days back now have a long look in the mirror and reflect on that? Ian Fulton has said, good evening all. Travelled back from Portugal during the game and the joy of passengers on landing to hear the scoreline was amazing. Roll on Thursday night to continue this form. Superb performance. Mark Smith goes on to say, how about supporting the manager and the team through tough times rather than going the Sevco route every time a couple of results go wrong? Can't wait for Thursday. Come on, you Reds. So many of you are commenting about Frank. Ian Fulton has said, Frank was amazing and was so glad to see him play. Rest in peace. Sugarland has said, and to think we were all praying we'd keep Frankfurt down to single figures at best and dreading the next run of games. You're absolutely right, mate. Ian Fulton goes on to say, a good supporter of AFC follows ups and downs. We have seen many of both since my first time at Pittodrie way back in 1960. Phil McLean has said, good, the show was delayed. And all who was close to him. Thoughts are with them all at this time. in regards to Frank. Christopher Mainland has said, can't count the number of times I've watched that Mackenzie tackle. What a performance from him. I have to say, forgive me if I'm sort of sniffling a bit here. First of all, the tackle on Goldson, timed to absolute perfection. But what I loved about it was the reaction of his teammates. Dante punching the air through, Shinnie clapping above his head, Richard Jensen clapping. It was, to me, that, as Terry and I discussed, that is really starting to show a real togetherness. And what I love about that as well is how much his teammates support him in moments like that. I was absolutely delighted for the boy. He deserved his goal. He took it superbly. And I just hope he can really start kicking on from here. Because, like we've said about Ruby, I also think there's a player in Jack. Long may it continue. The Mad Ferret has said, rest in peace, Frankie. Not only a legend of the game, but also a tough of a man. He certainly was. Matthew Cool is here saying, amazing result. Graham Barron, good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. What a win on Saturday. No better way to spend my 40th by beating Rangers on their own turf. I'll be going to watch Aberdeen on Thursday all the way from Troon. I hope you had a fantastic birthday, mate. Cheers, Graham. Gordon Keith Ritchie has said, good evening all. What a result on Saturday. I thought I was dreaming and sorry to hear about Frank. Best goal scorer I have ever seen and would have got King Joe's scoring record if not for that injury. Rest in peace, Frank. It's astonishing to remember that, you know, he only played 69 games for the club, scoring 44 goals. He was signed on the 28th of July 1984 to replace Mark McGee, because in that season we lost Gordon, Big Doug and Mark all after the cup final win against Celtic, and there was a bit of doom and gloom about the place for a while, and then we signed Frank, and it wasn't very, it took him a couple of games to get settled, but once he got settled, my God, just the most astonishing goal scorer. Al Mitchell has said, happy days, folks. What a feeling to put that lot to bed. Doric Davis said, well, let's be honest. Who saw that coming? Absolutely magic. What a performance after the first awful 20 minutes or so. Paul Ricci has said, been watching all Rangers podcasts just for a laugh. What a day. Mad Ferret has said, Frank, you'll never be forgotten. Scott W said, I thought we were awful in the first 30 minutes or so. They could have been 3 up. Once we took the lead, though, we never looked back. Second half was outstanding. Yeah, I must admit, I was very nervous about our performance in the first 15 to 20 minutes. But once we got going, I thought we were fantastic. Al Mitchell came back to say, rest in peace, Frank. Gray Pilgrim has said, they don't do walking away, but the stadium was half empty at full time. I think it was more than half empty, mate. It was just about empty. Mark Gordon has said, what a player Frank was. Rest in peace. David Gold has said, good evening, dandies. Buzzing from the result on Saturday, but very sad to hear about the passing of Frank McDougall. Rest in peace. Matthew Cool came back to say condolences with Frank's family. I'll never forget. When was it now? About a year ago. It was about a year ago, give or take. Did another gig with him, this time in the Station Hotel with Joe Harper. 2 absolute goal-scoring legends. And he had on this jacket. It's the worst jacket I've ever seen, and I was very quick in telling him that as well. It was like you know when you put too much bleach in the wash and it comes out with that sort of white stain. It looks like camouflage. So it looked like that. So I sort of welcomed him onto stage. And I thought I'd just try and get the crowd laughing a bit, just try and set the tone a wee bit. And I said to him, have you just been down for a walk at the harbour before you came here? And he just took one look at me. And without a beat, he said to me, were you once in an effing boy band? Which absolutely brought the house down, it really did. And I had absolutely no answer to it at all. Oh, what a man he was. Right, Mark Howison is here. He said, in the first batch of games, Hibs, Hearts and St Mirren still to play the Old Firm. Next 4 games for us are St Johnstone, Dundee, Kilmarnock and Motherwell. Great opportunity to get some points in the bag. And let's not forget, we've got 4 home games on the trot as well. Scott W came back to say, October could be a fantastic month for us. Only one away game at the end of the month. What a chance it is to really start climbing the table and picking up points. I agree. Gray Pilgrim has mentioned Frank's 4 goals against Celtic. I wish I was there for that game. I wish there was film of that game. Big Frank was the best. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm sure you all know the story now that there was a television strike, unfortunately. I know there's photographs of the 4 goals, but there's no actual moving images at all, which is just such a shame. Mark Howison has said, rest in peace, Frank. Some player who retired at the age of 29. Can you imagine what he could have done for another couple of years at Pittodrie? Mark Mayer has said, a true legend. Rest in peace, Frank. Graham Watt has said, thought we got our tactics spot on. We had to ride a storm, but after the first 20 to 25 minutes, we took over. Nicola Beaton says, great result on Saturday. Difficult when you live with a Rangers fan and can't celebrate properly. Gareth Mackey, thank you for your thoughts, mate. Graham Watt came back to say Jack McKenzie's tackle said everything about the team on Saturday. Al Mitchell said the team on Saturday was solid. Barry set them up so well. I had to listen on the radio. It was the greatest feeling jumping around the living room with my old dad. Brilliant. Ewan Grant. Hi, Ewan. How you doing, fella? He says, to make the change so effectively after the early period against a much more expensive team is a real show of maturity and intelligence from Barry and the players. Scott W came back to say, I loved the determination in the team for the second and third goals. Every loose ball was picked up by a Dons player. I counted 6 efforts on goal in the build-up to the second goal. It was great to see. Can't be bothered, I said. After that result, the old Rangers must be turning in their grave. Oh, dear. Laura McLean has said, I said on Friday we could take them and did. Saturday was just epic. We played beautifully. They claim they don't do walking away, but they were leaving so early. Simon Royce here. Hi, Simon. Evening, Ali and Reds. Great result. I was nervous first 20 minutes, but wow, the boys played well and got the job done. Derek Griffiths. Good evening, Ali. What a great result on Saturday, as it was my 50th birthday. Great present from AFC. Brilliant, Derek. Hope you had an absolutely brilliant day. Belated birthday wishes to you. Again, so many people talking about Frank. He's so loved, huh? Graham Buchanan said, hi guys, what a weekend and start to the week. To be a dandy, this has to be the real deal. Onwards and upwards, stand free. Right, let's just keep your comments coming in. I'll keep reading some of them out. So let's not forget that obviously we've got a big game on Thursday night against Helsinki in the Europa Conference League. Kickoff at Pittodrie is at 8 o'clock. The club tweeted about, or whatever you call it. I don't even know what you call it these days. X'd, posted about half an hour ago, give or take, that there's only about 1,000 tickets left. So fully expect all the tickets to go to what will be hopefully a fantastic night under the lights at Pittodrie. And a quick sneaky peek for you. This is the front cover of the matchday programme designed by the brilliant Dolly Digital. Red Matchday, always a fantastic read, which continues to win award after award after award. So we'll do a preview show for that game on Wednesday night. And then obviously we'll do the review again on Friday. So it looks like we're going to have quite a busy week here on ABTV, which is just brilliant. Just keep the shows coming and keep all your comments coming in as well. Right, let's get back to some more of your comments. John Bleasdale is here. Hi, John. I hope you're well, mate. Glad to see the improvements in results recently, but need to carry on with this momentum in the next 2 games before the international break. I agree, mate. John came back to say, rest in peace, Frank McDougall. His hat-trick clinching goal at Tynecastle is a thing of beauty. If Henry, De Bruyne, etc. score that, it's on loop on Sky for decades. John Morris said, 4 home games, great, but it's followed by 4 away ones. Yeah, thanks, John. Thanks for clearing that up, mate. David Quantrill has said, Frank was some boy. Had the privilege to play golf with him many times. Great man and a great player. PGL Tuna has said Jack McKenzie was superb. A Doric Roberto Carlos, he said. Doric Dave came back to say, we're going to win the league. We're going to win the league. You know, they'll never believe us. Mark Gordon said, limbs in the corner after the third goal. Oh, wasn't it just brilliant? It's the one thing I really, really enjoy is watching the Aberdeen fans. You know, in big... I love watching the Aberdeen fans anyway, but particularly in games like this, you know, when there's so much at stake and with the rivalry and all that. Bellingham 25. Hi, mate. I'm absolutely fine. Thank you for getting in touch. Kaiser's on. Hi, Kaiser. How you doing? He's wishing everybody a good evening. Neil McDonald has said, when will that team in blue learn? You can't polish... You know the saying. A Saturday that I was best man at my uncle's wedding, couldn't keep track of what was happening due to data issues with my phone. Oh yeah, we've all been there before. Kaiser came back to say, rest in peace, Frankie. Brilliant. Robert Clearahu came on to say, my Celtic supporting workmate said that if the Gers lost to the Dons, he would wear a Dons top. He wore it today. Brilliant. Graham Clark has said, love Mackenzie's performance and goal on Saturday. However, if I ever meet him in person, I'd recommend he never becomes a gymnast. That celebration was awful. He didn't quite nail it, did he? He really didn't quite nail it. It was so funny. He did it a tad early, didn't he? It was so funny. Mac James has said, loving the live show. This is the best part of my day. Cheers, Mac. And Neil McDonald came on to say, driving across Inverness for the reception, the Dandies scored a second. My fist pumping at the traffic lights. People must have thought I'd had road rage. Wayne the Biker 74 has said, good evening all. Great result on Sunday. I'm absolutely gutted to hear about Frank's passing. Rest in peace, Frank, and condolences to his family. Kaiser came back to say, nothing better than seeing the Germs leaving after the second went in. The Germs. Phil McLean said, should be a good atmosphere on Thursday. I've seen firsthand how friendly the Finnish people are. Let's make them feel welcome, of course. Neil McDonald came back to say, Mackenzie celebration, the new tatty. A few people have actually commented about that. PGL Tuna's come on and asked, any truth that we've signed Lee Miller's boy from Motherwell? Honestly, mate, I don't know. I've not heard anything about that at all. Right, so we have done just over half an hour. So I'm going to call it a night because I want to get to bed and I desperately want to blow my nose. So thank you for coming on. I've loved having you all on. Thank you for leaving all your comments about Frank. I'm going to be speaking to his brother David in the next sort of 24 to 48 hours, and I will make sure that him and the family, the immediate family, know of the outpouring of love for him. So I will do that in the next couple of days. So we'll see you again on Wednesday night for the preview show ahead of the Helsinki game on Thursday. So enjoy the rest couple of days. Enjoy it. Have fun. If you have Rangers fans who are pals, continue to take the mick, because I know I certainly am. So guys, thank you so much for coming on. Have a brilliant couple of days. Stand free. I'll see you soon. 3-1, baby. 3-1.